ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. Okay. Let us see some portion of Mulavidya Nirasa. Okay. In the previous talk, I'll just make a 2-3 minutes summary. People don't like summarizing. Some people, I found somebody doesn't like summary of the past. Okay, then let me go directly. Okay. Now those who say sarvairapi evam vadadvihi, all those who say that regarding vyavaharik differences in the prakriya are not very serious matter. They should be taken lightly. All our acharyas really were particular about paramarthika satta alone. They were not serious, although they were differing with one another. Although they were differing with one another, they were not serious about those differences. Though they were differing, they were taking lightly. This is what you said. But this doesn't convince us. Swamiji says this doesn't convince us, because you have to explain when you are taking seriously the differences and refuting others, insisting that your method, your prakriya alone is the right prakriya, others' prakriya doesn't prove Advaita. So that's why he is refuting others' prakriya. He should have simply stated what he wanted to say and then Advaita, that's all. He should have remained silent. But they are not remaining silent. They are taking the other co-Advaitins' method of teaching, co-Advaitins' certain explanations about certain points. They are taking them seriously, considering them to be wrong. They are refuting them, logically refuting them, finding fault with them, showing how they are wrong. Logically, they are pointing out the defects. One side you point out the defects and later you say, okay, they are all the same. This really confuses people. You see, anyatha jignasuna. So jignasu means the students, the seekers of truth are likely to get confused. If you don't explain clearly these differences in prakriya within the same sampradaya, the differences in prakriya of our various acharyas, Panchapadika, Vivarana and all others, if these differences in prakriya are only superficial, are meant to be taken lightly, you want the students to take lightly, but acharyas themselves don't take lightly. They take them very seriously and try to refuse another acharya. See, Panchapadika follower doesn't forgive Bhamatikaras, followers on certain points. They strongly, vehemently argue and they say it is totally wrong and it doesn't give Advaita at all. They refute it staunchly, vehemently. And they also defend their prakriya and say that your prakriya alone is wrong. Now, you say that no, they don't mean it, they are only vyavaharik differences alone. In Paramarthika Satta, they all accept Advaitam Brahma only. If they accept Advaitam Brahma and all these prakriyas are meant to help you to understand the absolute truth, then vyavaharik differences are just superficial and light. And you want the students to take them lightly and not take seriously. Whereas the acharyas take seriously and they keep refuting each other, write pages and pages against each other. Is it not confusing? You mean acharyas keep quarreling, keep refuting each other, and you want students to take lightly? How is it possible? And then you see, not only the main Panchapadika, Bhamati refute each other, their following Vyakhyanakaras also, again their Vyakhyana or Vyakhyana, commentary and sub-commentary and over sub-commentary, commentary over that also refute the same thing, argue the same thing. And then you say, in spite of their Acharya Parampara taking so seriously, we are supposed to take them lightly. How? When he says this alone is right and is arguing, and you are supposed to take lightly. How? Student is a student, he is learning. And student definitely takes seriously. In fact, students take more seriously than the Acharya. You mean Acharya is a very harsh, very hateful person? And then you see, any religion, suppose the very founder of their religion, their prophets are very hateful people, and then you expect their followers to take lightly? Oh, that prophet didn't mean, he took it lightly. And they want to staunchly, they want to be a staunch loyals of their, they want their followers to be staunchly loyal. Exactly whatever the prophet or the founder of a sampradaya said, they expect their followers to follow exactly my words alone. Then the students are likely to get confused. Therefore, Vyavaharika Vishaye Anashvase Karanam Pradarshaniyam Bhavati. Then you have to tell in Vyavaharika Vishaya, you can differ, even if you differ doesn't matter, take it lightly. And they should tell why they should take lightly. Then if it is lightly, just simply touch it and leave them, and don't argue. Don't argue. Whatever you say in Vyavaharika Prakriya, just argue. Don't argue. Simply say and leave it. If you say differently, that's also okay. If somebody says differently, that's also okay. Don't argue. But they take it Purapaksha. Eka Jivavadi takes Aneka Jivavadi as a Purapaksha. Aneka Jivavadi takes Eka Jivavadi as a Purapaksha and keeps refuting. In Eka Jivavadi cannot explain many things. This is a wrong Prakriya, he says. Eka Jivavadi says Aneka Jivavadi is only Dvaitin alone, is not Advaita. It doesn't say that we are, oh, that's also okay, this is also, they don't say that. They have been refuting. Therefore, in Vyavaharika Vishaye, Anashvase Karanam Pradarshaniyam Bhavati, they have to show the Karanam regarding the differences among the Acharyas, regarding the Vyavaharika matter. You have to tell the reason. But if you don't tell the reason, Anyatha Jignasunam Paramartha Vyavahara Vibhage Bija Majanatam, then people would not know the difference between Vyavahara, what is Paramarthika, the difference would not be known. First thing is, they don't clarify many Vyavaharik Paramarthik differences at all. They take Vyavaharik thing also equally seriously. Don't you see the Acharyas taking Vyavaharik things equally seriously? They should have taken Vyavaharik things lightly themselves. Then Vidyarthi also takes lightly. But if you take Vyavaharik differences seriously, and then we would think that Vyavahara is also equally important like Paramartha. Then when you give equal importance to Vyavahara and Paramartha, then the Bheda becomes difficult to understand. Therefore, Paramartha Vyavahara Vibhage Bija Majanatam. Because even after Jnanam, the Jnani's body continues, Jnani's Vyavaharik karma continues, then what is Paramartha, what is Vyavahara? You have not divided at all. Even after Jnani also has got Vyavahara, karma and Sukha Dukkadi Anubhava. When you say, then what is Paramartha? You have not clarified. So even after Jnanam, when the same problems continue, then did you distinguish between Vyavahara, Paramarthika Drishti? You have not shown the difference at all. Even the Paramarthik, Jnani is supposed to live as a Paramarthik level. Then you say the Jnani also has the same problems like us. Then the difference is not clear. So if whatever problems an Ajnani has, if Jnani also continues to have the same problems, then how did you distinguish between Vyavaharika and Paramarthika? You have not distinguished at all. That means when you retain all samsara qualities to a jnani, then where is the difference? You have not distinguished it at all. Therefore, vyavaharika vishayeshu anashvase karanam pradarsaniyam bhavati. You have to tell the reason. Anyatha jignasunam paramartha vyavahara vibhage bijam ajanatam. They would not know the root criterion. Bijam means the criterion to decide that this is vyavahara, this is paramarthika. Kaya pranalikaya tasam sarvasam ekavakyata syat prakriyanam. Iti sandehe. Then on what basis? On what basis we can do samanvaya of these mutually contradictory prakriyas? Avidya, Jivashraya or Brahmashraya? Tell me. They say Brahmashraya, again Jivashraya. He says no, it can't be Jivashraya, it has to be Brahmashraya. Again they say no, it can't be. Another person says no, it can't be Brahmashraya, it has to be Jivashraya. Now, if you take them lightly, then don't argue. But by telling totally opposite views, you tell opposite views and they say anyway everything is Brahma. Everything is Brahma, then why take these opposite stands? Is it not a contradiction? And virodasya sputatvat. Contradiction is so clear, reconciliation is impossible. Therefore, many places, see, acharyaischa swaprakaretarasmin doshodbhavanacha. These acharya, each acharya is finding fault with the prakriya of other acharyas. See, swaprakaretarasmin. Prakara is prakriya. Swaprakara itarasmin. Prakaretaraha. Prakaretaram means anya prakriya. They are finding fault with other prakriya. If the acharya felt, okay, whether you say that way, this way, both are same, then he would not have found fault with other prakriya. He would have taken, oh, that's also okay, this is also okay. But he didn't say that. He is finding fault with others' prakriya. Therefore, acharyaischa swaprakaretarasmin doshodbhavanacha. They are finding fault with it. Sarvatra viparitam kasmanna tata. Then why not the other way? This is the doubt likely to arise. If you say a question, if Jivashrita, Avidya, if you say, why not Brahmashrita? Then if you say Brahmashrita, why not Jivashrita? Why not keep on counter questioning it? Ultimately no answer. But one more point I say, there are certain points, they are unable to reconcile. What Bhamati says, what Vivarana says, they are unable to reconcile. That's why when that point comes, you bring two replies, two answers. Each time you put a question about what is this, what gives jnanam, and you say Shravana gives jnanam, but Manana Nididhyasana only clears the mind. Shravana alone gives jnanam. But Bhamati says no, Shravana doesn't produce jnanam, only Nididhyasana produces jnanam. Now you reconcile. They are unable to reconcile. Each time you put a question, what gives jnanam? Two ways of answering. One is, if you are a follower of Vivarana, you will say Vakya alone gives jnanam, Bhamati is wrong. And Bhamati follower says no. If they subscribe to only Bhamati stand, then they would say that no, Vivarana stand is wrong. Or some people are little broad-minded. What they do? They accept both. Okay, if they accept both, are they able to reconcile? They are not able to reconcile. Then what do? They present both together. For each question, they give two answers side by side. Parallel answers, they say either this way or this way, either this way or this way. For each question, they are able to give two answers. How can there be two answers for each one? So they give two answers. It has been coming from centuries. For each one, two answers are given. According to Bhamati, this is the answer. According to Panchapadika, this is the answer. That means there are two answers. Which is the right answer still is undecided. Or you may take one of them and reject the other. You may take one of them and reject the other, or take both and remain contradictory, unreconciled. Unreconciled two contradictory answers about the same point. With this, do you think Jnanam can rise? Do you think the confusion won't be there at all? Vedanta is very clear to me. Swamiji, there was one co-brahmachari with us. Oh, very clear to me. Mulavidya is so convincing to me. Very, very clear, he told. I laughed uncontrollably for days together. Even now, whenever I remember, he says, so clear to me. But he says contradiction is very nice and appealing to him. It gives him a great peace of mind. Huh? Contradiction gives him great peace of mind. I wonder what is. Now I have to abuse and criticize them. Anyway, I leave them. There is no point in criticizing them, because this is how they are. That's all. That means they are not jignasus. They talk any nonsense. So, swaprakaretarasmin doshodbhavanacha sarvatra viparitam kasmanna tata. That's why people are very comfortable with all contradictions. They say, that's also right, this is also right. Nowadays, this kind of a reconciliation, bhamati, vivarana, there are so many contradictions. They say, if you read Siddhanta Lesha Sangraha, Jnani attains Saguna Brahma only and waits for all jivas to gain Jnanam. When all jivas gain Jnanam, then the Jagat will cease to exist. When the Jagat ceases to exist, Saguna Brahma's Maya will go away. Then only they will attain Nirguna Brahma. That means each jiva who attains Brahma Jnanam, he attains Saguna Brahma, he stays in Brahmaloka only. All the jivas who gain Jnanam remain in Brahmaloka only. When all the jivas get Brahma Jnanam, then there is no need for the world, then the Maya will disappear, then the Nirguna Brahma comes. Tell me, when we say Jagat Srishti is Anadi Ananta, Srishti Laya is both Srishti Pralaya Anadi Ananta, when will be all the jivas will gain Jnanam, then all the jivas will gain Jnanam, then there won't be a need of a Jagat at all. When will it happen? You read Siddhanta Lesha Sangraha. When will it happen? Does this reconcile all your problems? Somebody says that, oh, like this. Now I am very convinced, Swamiji, so nice that Jnanis go only to Saguna Brahma, and then they wait for all jivas to gain Jnanam. Then all of them attain together Nirguna Brahma when Maya is destroyed completely and there is no world at all. No, you mean this is convincing to you? Or even if contradiction is there, it doesn't matter, still Brahma only. Then you don't need Vedanta. You need a mental hospital. Definitely. See this contradiction. They love this contradiction and say there is no contradiction at all. How clear it is. There was one person who accused against me. He did the same thing. So clear to me. All my doubts are cleared, he told. Because Mulavidya is clear. Sarvatra viparitam kasmanna tatha iti chintayaha durantatvat kasminnapi siddhanta vidabedena syat pratyayah. Then each one you take somebody's standpoint and question the other. You take Bhamati standpoint and question Vivarana, and Vivarana standpoint question. Ultimately, you don't know which one to accept. That means your mind is still vacillating between the two, indecisive. Such a vacillating, indecisive mind, what can it come to a conclusion? Is Jnanam a clear-cut conclusion? Or when there is no clear conclusion, it is vacillating, that is called Jnanam. If that is Jnanam, then okay, we accept your Siddhanta. Vacillating between two, maybe that, maybe this, then that is Brahma Jnanam. I may be Brahma, I may not be Brahma, this is Brahma Jnanam. Okay, I may be Jiva, I may be Brahma, or I may be in between. This is a very clear-cut Brahma Jnanam. If this is Brahma Jnanam, then we are all Brahma Jnanis only. We don't need Vedanta study. Without studying Vedanta, we are all Brahma Jnanis. And there will be more Brahma Jnanis will come. much more confused fellows. So this is all ridiculous. This is emotionally defending just because our tradition told, oh, our tradition is great, our Sanskrit language is great, all our Shastras are great. Okay, having respect for your Shastras is good, but having clarity of understanding is better. Okay, having respect for our Sanskrit Shastras is good, but having a clear understanding and a clear thinking is still better. So, eka eva. Then you quoted, now Swamiji is replying to the another argument of Purvapakshi. He quoted that Sureshwaracharya's Vakya, that yaya yaya bhavet pumsam vyatpatti pratyagatmani. So, by whatever prakriya a person gets the jnanam, atma jnanam, that prakriya is right for him. And there can be many prakriyas. Any prakriya is equally right. And there can be many prakriyas regarding that. So why insist on that? They all should be one prakriya, or at least we should be able to reconcile. Why do you insist that we should reconcile them? Let there be no harmonization of the contradictory prakriyas. Let there be contradiction in spite of that also, because there can be contradictory paths also to reach the same truth. How can you reach the same truth by contradictory paths? Unless you reconcile. If you can show that they appear contradictory, but in their effect they are not contradictory, then you have reconciled. And you say that not only they appear contradictory, they take you to the contradictory paths, contradictory goals. Not only they are contradictory in appearance, in the path, but even the end they take you also contradictory. Then how can you say you have reconciled, you have harmonized between these two paths, contradictory paths? You can't say. Okay, regarding the quotation of Sureshwaracharya, Eka eva hi syat samyak darshana margaha. Sureshwaracharya says there is only one samyak darshana marga. Samyak darshana, the right knowledge, there is only one path of right knowledge. Paraspara viruddha prasthananam yesham. There can only be one alone can be right and all others can be wrong. There can't be, that's also right. Ajnanam is also right, jnanam is also right. You can't say samsara is also right, moksha is also right. You can't say dvaitam jiva is separation is also right, jiva becoming one is also right. All are equally right. We believe all religions are equally true. Hating is also Brahma Jnanam, loving is also Brahma Jnanam, killing and murdering, raping is also Moksha Dwara, and also loving and not hurting, also Moksha Margam. All religions are equally true. I don't know, which no sane person can accept such things. Okay. Then why complain them? Get killed and get this thing. So that's getting killed also moksha marga. And they are killing, by raping you, killing you and exploiting you, torturing you, they get moksham. Tipu Sultan by torturing us gets moksha. And if we getting tortured, we don't get moksha anyway. By torturing he gets moksha. By not, do you get moksha like this? Then let all of us become villains alone and get tortured and start torturing each other, persecuting each other. Then all of us will go to moksha early. You mean this is the right way? Ayyo Rama, God alone knows. This kind of a confused talking. So yathoktat paraspara viruddha prasthananam esham yathoktam. But you see, you have quoted Sureshwaracharya's Vakya, that is from Brihadaranya Vartika. Along with that, there is another shloka. Next succeeding shloka, there is another shloka. Read what the next shloka says. Purve samudre yakpanta sagacchati paschimam. See, a path that takes you Eastern Sea. Eastern Sea in India is Bay of Bengal. The path which takes you to Eastern Sea will not take you to the Paschima Sea, that is the Western Sea, is Arabian Sea, we call it in English. It is all Hindu Sea, but they are calling it Arabian Sea, as if it is Arabia's not Hindu Sea. It's not Indian Sea, it's only Arabian Sea, see. When they call it Bay of Bengal, they should have called it Bay of Bombay or Gujarat. That is Gujarat Samudra or it is a Maharashtra Samudra, they should have called it. But instead of, they call it Arabian Sea. This alone is called luckily Bengal's Bay, Bay of Bengal. They start giving, because they come from outside and they give the names, and we are supposed to accept the names given by outsiders. This is a very strange India. So Purve Samudre Yak Pantha, there is a path that takes you to Eastern Sea, that is the Bay of Bengal, and the same path will not take you to Western Sea called Arabian Sea. A path that takes you to Bay of Bengal cannot take you to Arabian Sea, because Ekapanta hi mokshasya, that means they are contradictory paths. That is exactly opposite path. The path which takes you to Bay of Bengal will not take you to Bombay. If you go this side, you won't reach Bombay. You will reach sea. You may drown in the sea and reach in heaven, but not reach Bombay. Okay. You won't reach Bombay. So therefore, Sureshwaracharya says in the next line of the same shloka, Ekapanta hi mokshasya. The opposite paths cannot take you to the same goal. There is only one path. There can't be two contradictory and opposite paths for moksha. Ekapanta hi mokshasya tanme vistarata shrunu. And that path I am explaining in detail. Listen to me. This is the next shloka he is telling. Okay, look at the shloka. You quote one shloka and leave out its succeeding shloka. Partially you take it and then you try to defend your. Most of the people do like that. They take one shloka out of context. Out of means they don't look at the whole context. They take shloka, they get fascinated by it and ignoring the context. Out of context means ignore. Athava, let me continue the Swamiji's vakyam. Athava paksha pratipaksha grahanena vivadamanais sarvesham siddhantanam asiddhireva prakhyapyate iti chet yak kaschana tatastha sangireta. If some tatastha, neutral scholar, when people are quarreling between them, one against each other, one against other, and he says my path alone is right and other says his path alone is right. If both of them quarrel like this, and a third person who is a neutral person watching, sitting by their side, may believe that since both are contradicting with each other, neither of them is correct. If he comes to conclusion that neither of them is correct, who can stop him? Who can stop him? Who can prevent him from coming to such a conclusion? Okay? Paksha pratipaksha grahanena vivadamanaihi taihi sarvesham siddhantanam asiddhireva. Since both of them are contradicting each other, unable to accept each other, then both are equally wrong. If somebody comes to such a conclusion, asiddhireva iti prakhyapayate iti chet yak kaschana tatastha sangireta. If some neutral person, neutral means he doesn't take side of anybody, he neutrally watches both them, then if such a person comes to a conclusion, who can prevent him? Tada kastasya nivarakasya. Who can stop him from coming to such a conclusion? Nacha navidyate eva. And you can't say no, there are no such neutral people. All of them belong to one of the schools alone. Whoever follows his school and his school is right. Supposing some people say, whichever school you follow, whichever religion you follow, all the religions, all the schools are equally right. Only don't quarrel. You follow your own religion, your own school, you will reach the same moksha. There is one path like that. I think it is Ramakrishna Matha's path alone. Whichever religion you follow, whichever traditional thing you follow, traditional philosophy or traditional acharya and sadhana you follow anything, you will reach the same goal. Okay? So only thing is, people stop quarreling with others. People should stop converting others. You just stop converting, everybody is equally right. Whichever you follow any path, it will take you the same way. Anything, whether it is a hateful path, murdering path, rapist path, also will take you to the same moksha, because all of them mean the same thing. So So they say, now you can't say that there are no neutral people. Each one is following one of these paths. You can't say. There are many people who don't subscribe to any religious, any philosophical school, any religious path. They are neutral people. They accept whatever is convincing to them. They are independent thinkers. Whichever convinces them, they accept it. They just don't subscribe blindly to one particular book or one particular prophet or one philosopher. Before they study, you already subscribe to one philosopher. Before you study, right from childhood, you start accepting one philosopher or one religion or one prophet. Once you already accept before considering their ideas, their teachings, before considering, you consider, before examining, you start taking them to be true. And after taking true, then you start considering, examining. So all your examination is only to confirm what you already believe. To confirm what you already have taken for granted without considering, without examining. So this kind of examination is just useless. Because whichever you already accept, you start using, you are looking for arguments to defend what you already accepted. But you accepted without any argument, without any examining. First, without examining, you accept. Later, you examine only those evidences which suits your pre-existing conclusion, already idea you have accepted. This is not investigation. This is not vichara. This doesn't help you to discover any truth because there is no vichara. So, nacha navidyate tadrisha udasina pakshagrahi. Now you can't say such a udasina, a neutral, a person who takes certain philosophers or seekers of truth who are neutral to any tradition or any religion or any book or any prophet. They are ready to consider any prophet's words, any book or any argument, anything they are ready to consider. But they just don't subscribe to somebody as already true without considering, without examining. Without examining, they don't accept anybody. But ready to examine anybody's. You give us anybody's school, any book, anybody's idea, ready to examine. You can't say such people, neutral people, don't exist at all. Because yataha Kraista Muhammad Joro Vastara Janabuddha Prabhutinam Aptatvena Parigrihitaraha Tattaduktishu Abhinivishamanaha Idameva Tattvamiti Paranapi Grahayantaha Sochita Vivida Yukti Upanyasena Parashatam Upalabhyante Asminneva Bharate Varshe. So, there are some people who take for granted one particular school, one religion or one prophet or one philosopher for granted, and they do everything only start defending them. Before they study, before they examine, they start defending. See, they have not examined Islam and Christianity or Buddhism or any religion or Vedic religion. Before they examine and get convinced, they start defending it first. They are not open-minded students, seekers of truth. They are only followers of it and defenders of it. Not only defenders, they are propagators of some school, some idea, which they themselves are not convinced because they have not investigated at all. And after some time, they themselves will, first they propagate it vehemently, aggressively among people, they convert them. After some time, he will leave the whole thing. Then when you have done all these days, propagated and spoiled many people, then what is your accountability towards that? You already spoiled many people. Now you left. Some people do like this. They keep on propagating. After 5 years to 10 years, they leave the very school, that very religion, because he found it is wrong. But then how did you defend it before you inquired and examined it? You defended it blindly. Now you just give up, now that you are disillusioned and then you don't believe it and you come up. What is this all going on? This is all utter foolishness. So there are some people, they follow their religion, their prophet or these people. There are one side, such people, they follow them. Not only they follow, they believe. they try to pursue others also. They try to persuade others that my school, my religion alone is correct. They try to persuade others also. So one side there are people, followers of certain schools, certain religion. Other side there are people who are totally independent thinkers. They don't subscribe to any religion, any scholar, any school of philosophy. Blindly. They consider whichever is a good point, they make their own combination of all religious ideas, all philosophical ideas. They make their own combination of various ideas by picking up a few pieces from each school of philosophy. They make their own combination, and out of them in that combination few things again are unacceptable. This goes on endlessly. Anyway, so I just gave you bare idea. I read out the shloka and explain the whole. I read out the sentence and explain word by word. First I gave you general idea. See, nacha navidyate eva. You can't say that such people, those who follow one school alone, exclusively with an attachment, you can't say. There are some people like Christ, followers of Christ, Muhammad, followers of Muhammad, Muslims, Zoroaster, followers of, what is that? Zoroaster is Parsi religion, no, not Judaism. Zoroastrianism, yes. Zoroaster is Zoroastrianism. Swamiji wrote in Sanskrit Zoroaster. So Zoroastrianism, Parsi religion. Then Jainas, Mahavira followers. Then Buddha's followers. Now there are followers of each of these religion. Not only they believe without examining, but they try to persuade also others. So Prabhutin aptatvena parigrihitara. They take them as reliable people. Buddha, Mahavira, and Christ, and then Jesus, Muhammad, and so on. They take them as apta. Tattadvuktishu abhiniveshamana. They are attached to, they are deeply attached to their statements, their books. Buddha, they say everything Buddha says alone is right. So they have an emotional attachment to them, and they with a sagraham, with a what you say, sagraham means forcefully, they insistently, they say that, insist telling that this alone is truth because my prophet alone, my religious founder alone is right. And he keeps on asserting. Not only he asserts, paranapigrahayantaha, he persuades others also. Svochita vividha. And then whatever arguments he can bring, he can produce in defense of it, he produces the argument and tries to defend it. And if you refute it, he will try to find out another argument. Now he is looking for argument to defend his own school or his own religion. Parashatam upalabhyante. Hundreds of people you find them. Asminneva bharate varshe. Even in this India alone, you find hundreds of people doing like this. And then on the contrary, on the other hand, there are people who don't subscribe to any of these religious founders and their books. Asticha swatantra yukti chalakaha, independent thinkers. Swatantra yukti chalakaha, independent thinkers. They don't believe in any of the schools. They have their own independent thinking. Like for example, Swamiji quotes these Westerners alone. There are independent thinkers in India too. I don't know, Swamiji is not quoting Indian thinkers. He is quoting only foreign thinkers. Who say Spencer, Huxley, Hume, Berkeley, Bergson, Adi. Spencer, Huxley, Hume, Berkeley, Bergson, Adi, Paschatya Vipaschit, Darshita, Disha Manurundhanaha. They follow the Western philosophy. Okay, Avashyam Udasinaha. They are neutral regarding the Vedic schools, regarding many schools within the Vedikas. Within the Vedikas, Dvaita, Vishishtadvaita, they are all neutral to them. They don't have any attachment to the Veda. Whether Dvaita is true, Advaita is true, they are not particular about it. They just don't have any emotional attachment with Dvaitam, Advaitam, Vishishtadvaitam or Dvaita, Advaitam, because they are totally outsiders. So, Avashyam Udasinaha, they are neutral. So, Vaidikanam Avantara Vivada Vishayeshu, among their internal differences, internal what you call arguments of schools, internal disputing schools, they have no sympathy with them, they have no attachment for them. They say whichever is convinces to me logically, I accept that, otherwise let it be anything. Even Advaitins, we don't care. If Dvaitin happens to be convincing, I'll accept Dvaitin. I don't mind. Because we are not attached to any particular school. Because they're just outsider non-Vaidikas. So, Vaidikanam avantara vivada vishayeshu nanu manyante kamapi vishayam swatantra vichara pidyamiti. Any idea which goes against their independent thinking, they are not prepared to accept. They are not prepared to accept any idea which goes against their independent thinking. Just because some prophet, some scholar, some philosopher said it, they are not prepared to accept it blindly unless it convinces their thinking. Okay, bandha athamanyeta naivate shruti bhashyaha adartavyaha. I think we will stop with this 40 minutes we have covered. Now the argument is going into a next argument. Next argument we'll discuss tomorrow. Okay. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.